Welcome to Genetics and DNA. In this presentation, I will explain in the simplest manner what genes and DNA are, what their responsibilities are, and how they are important to the development of organisms. For starters, what exactly is a gene? Genes are units inside a cell that control how living organisms inherit features from their ancestors. For example, children usually look like their parents because they inherited their parents' genes. Genetics try to identify which features are inherited and explain how these features pass generation to generation. In genetics, a feature of a living thing is called a trait. Some traits are part of the organism's physical appearance, such as a person's eye color, height, or weight. Other sorts of traits are not easily seen and include blood type and resistance to diseases. The way our genes and environment interact to produce a trait can be complicated. For example, the general design of a tiger's stripes is inherited, whereas the actual stripe pattern of an individual tiger is influenced by its environmental factors that are difficult to determine. Genes are made from a long molecule called DNA, which is copied and inherited across generations. DNA is made of simple units that line up in a particular order within this long molecule. The simple units are incredibly numerous and are what geneticists call nucleotides. The nucleotides arrange in 4 unique letters of code: A, T, C, and G. The order of these units carry genetic information, similar to how the order of letters on a page of text carries information. The language used in DNA is called the genetic code, which allows the genetic machinery to read the information in the genes. This information is the instructions for constructing and operating a living organism. Genes produce protein, which take control over all the chemical processes within a cell and make up a vast amount of the human body. This is probably why protein is one of the most beneficial ingredients in food, because we are essentially constructed of it. There are tiny molecular motor proteins within all cells called kinesin. The kinesin carry instructional cargo around the cell and are found in every living organism. Our genetic structure is that of a catalog of a library, which holds all the information and location of all books. The catalog, in my metaphorical sense, is called the nucleus and contains our DNA. The books, in my metaphorical sense, are called chromosomes. DNA is written in a language that all organisms can read, and by this, scientists came to a consensus that all life is related. Your DNA is a twisted, elegant spiral, or in technical terms, a double helix, which is a molecular machine of the tiniest particles in all living things. These tiny particles are called atoms, and are so small that they resemble a miniature universe within all organisms. DNA acts like a blueprint for a living organism. How does DNA molecules act as building blocks? Well, we need to tackle amino acids first. Amino acids are used in every cell of your body to build the proteins which we need to survive. Amino acids are on the outside of the nucleus, which is called the cytoplasm. All organisms need proteins, whether they are used in muscles or as simple structures in a cell membrane. Even though all organisms have differences, they still have one thing in common: they need basic chemical building blocks. Even though scientists have discovered over 50 amino acids, only 20 are used to make proteins inside an organism. Of those 20, 9 are defined as essential. The other 11 can be synthesized by an adult body. Thousands of combinations of those 20 are used to make all the proteins in your body. Amino acids bond together to make long chains. Those long chains of amino acids are called proteins. The subsequent proteins are used to develop living cells, organs, tissues, and eventually, a living organism. When proteins are digested or broken down, amino acids are left. The human body uses amino acids to make proteins to help the body digest food, grow, and repair body tissue. Amino acids can also be used as a source of energy by the body. Amino acids are classified into 3 groups: essential, non-essential, and conditional. Essential amino acids cannot be made by the body and only come from food. Non-essential amino acids means that our body produces amino acid if we don't get it from the food we eat, such as alanine and glutamic acid. Conditional amino acids are usually not essential, except in time of illness and stress, such as serine, proline, and cysteine. I won't scrutinize on the chemistry of biology, although it is essential to all life. Perhaps that's a future topic. It has been said that organisms are throwaway survival machines for the self-replicating genetic information in which it holds. The fate of our genetic structure is conclusively dependent on how robust the survival machine is, such as better sight, stronger muscles, instincts, or speed. If the host dies before replication, then the genetic information will not be passed on. The selfishness of our genes are trying to prevent this from happening, thus actively trying to better the host. An organism is expected to evolve to maximize its inclusive fitness, which is the number of copies of its genes to be passed on globally rather than a particular individual. The contention is that the genes that get passed on are the ones whose evolutionary consequences serve their own implicit interest to continue being replicated, not necessarily those of the organism. This is commonly referred to as the selfish gene. The genes we see today are here because the hosts in which they produced were better than other hosts, and is essentially survival of the fittest, or should I say, survival of the stable. So let's recap. DNA is the molecular building blocks of life. Genes are specific strands of DNA code that give variational traits in organisms. DNA produces protein. Protein produces amino acids for survival. And lastly, all genes within all of us build survival machines so that they can reproduce themselves and not you. Thanks for watching Genetics and DNA. I chose to stray from a religious topic this video due to them being cliché. So more scientific presentations are coming soon. Don't be alarmed. I will still produce religious presentations. Like, share, subscribe, and be awesome. Don't forget to have a look at my previous presentations on this channel.